Nick.
And we are NV Board Gaming. And today we're looking at Beyond the Sun. This is a 2 to 4 player game. It was designed by Dennis Chan and it's published by Rio Grande Games. Nick is going to give a brief overview of how you play and then we're going to give our review.
All right, we're set up here for a 2-player game of Beyond the Sun. Beyond the Sun is a worker placement game. We're going to be doing a little tech tree action here, a little colonizing of space. So we have a little setup here on our player boards. The United Nations of Seoul gets in a basic game, so you can play basic or advanced. We're doing a basic game right here. There's not too much difference, so just easier to explain if I do the basic. They get an additional person from the C column. So they start with 3. My opponent normally would start with 2. On your turn, you're going to go ahead and place one of your pawns. So blue player, and I'm playing against the purple player over here. I'm not going to show their board just to save some space. And I can do actions. So these action spots here cover up the board based on the player count. So in a 2-player game, you can see we get these boards. I can occupy any of these spaces with my token and do the action. So for example, this one is to place one of my people, dice, their little cubes out here, onto a level 1 spot. You can see the level 1 spots are out over there. So let's say I do that. I have to spend one of my people, and I can do an action. So if I did that, I spent my guy off my board, and it says I can automate 1 population, and I can get a resource cube into a person. So my resource cubes are over here. I have to take from the left column always and turn this into, rotate it to the person. And I will automate 1. So that's what this is right here. And then to end your action, you can do a production. And right now my production is just going to be either 1 person from the A column or 1 ore. And I will take the 1 ore. I started with 1, now I have 2. So that's an example of an action. I can jump over here. This one lets me jump, and jumping is all on this board to my right. So we start with 1 value ship. So if I were to assign a worker here, assuming I have ownership, again, if I don't have ownership, I can't do this. The reason I did this right away is because it's immediate. There's no hex there for me to assign a worker. It says the word immediate, so I immediately do it. This one, I need to take ownership. I have an immediate action, and then there's spots where whoever owns that spot on the tech tree can use these actions. So if I own this, hypothetically, and in a later turn I want to use that, I can. So if I assigned a person there, and let's say I, on a later action, wanted to jump 4, that means that I can move 1 or more. So this guy was here. I can move how many ever I want up to 4. So I can do 1 4 times. I can do 4 of them 1 time. Doesn't matter. As soon as I'm the first one here, I put an action marker showing a little control marker based on what symbols here. Sometimes they'll be hybrids and they'll have 2 of those symbols. Either one. One of them is better for production. One of them is better for producing people for your crew. And let's say I did that. I went here. I can put 1 there just for being the only one there. I'm doing that. And when I put a cube down, it gives me an action immediate. So sometimes at the top they'll give you an action. These are worth victory points if you colonize it. You can see it has a colonize value of 3. So there are colonize actions out that will come out, for example. So you can see this colonize symbol right here. You can spend it at some later point in the game because these are not revealed just yet. They're actually covered to start a game. But eventually these will be revealed, and different actions let you colonize that will be revealed as we build out this tech tree. So I could spend, if this was open, I could spend 4 ore and lose a person in order to put a person, in order to colonize, as long as I have the value. I couldn't colonize this until I had at least a 3 value, and that could be from multiple ships or just one that has a 3 value. The cubes over here do go up to 4. Okay. So let's talk about this tree right here. So if this is a situation where I have control of these 2, that means I could potentially do a level 2. I could potentially do it here or here because I have this on the tech tree, and then this one says both. So I do own both from the tree that it's pointing to. So I could look at that. In order to do that, there's going to be different actions like this one, and it shows now I'm doing a level 2. So I have to go here, spend 2 ore, and put down a person on a level 2. And that's cool because I'm the first one that reveals it, so I get to do a little bonus maybe. So let's say I did this one. That would mean I did that, and I spent these 2 ore that I have. And then it will say something that I can follow, and sometimes it'll say something that my opponents can follow as well. This one says, draw the top card of either system deck and place it next to the system card slot on the exploration board. This card acts like a normal system and can be colonized, and it is 1 jump away from the attached location. Do not draw a new card when colonized. So that's just saying I can go ahead and put this over here, and now there is an additional system here, just so you know, and it's 1 jump away from what was already here. So not just that though, that spot gets replaced. So we look at what colors were before it. In this case, there is a green and there is a yellow. So I will flip these until I get greens and yellows, and I have to have at least 2 of them. So I see a green on this one, so I'm keeping that. And I see a green and a yellow on this one, so I'm keeping that. So those are the 2 I choose from. They'll get whichever ones I don't want get shuffled back into the bottom of the deck. And I will be able to place one of these and do the immediate action on the one I choose. So I look at that, and then I look at what spot I'm creating for myself. This one lets me do 4 iron to colonize. And normally it would be 4 iron and lose a person to colonize. And now I have a spot that's a little better. And if I paid more than is required, one of my ships is returned as a person instead of going just to the supply. Because typically, if I were to colonize that, this would just go back into my supply. Now this card is saying that this will be actually come back as a person. Cool. And I could choose this one, which lets me do a level 3. If I'm playing it, I'm definitely choosing this one. Despite this one being a mildly better immediate, this action is better. Because I can go here, spend 2 ore, lose a person, and do a level 3. And I want to do that because we do have objectives. Objectives down here, for instance, this one is always in play. Be the first to research a level 4. So this really gets me close to doing that. So I will discard this to the bottom and go ahead and place this out. It lets me automate 1. And there you go. We're going to keep doing this. The whole object or the whole end game here is to have 3 stars out here in these objective cards. Colonize 4 systems means to own 4 of these, and these get replenished as people take ownership of them. And then these 2 down here are going to be coming out randomly from different decks, but these 2 are always in the game. So as soon as there are 3 stars on this table, we are going to end the game. We're going to play 1 more round, and we're going to end the game. So everyone's going to have equal amount of turns. And you're just going to be doing actions. You're going to be colonizing. You're going to be researching, doing these different actions. So as this tech tree builds out, we're getting more and more actions that just that player can do. But I will note that if the purple player out here researched similarly, they can do the same things as this blue player did. They can go ahead and do that too, get the immediate. That's fine. It's just that these were the first, you were the first one there and you got to do this first. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of thrilling to be the first one to do it and see what you got. You're also gonna get victory points the farther in the tech tree that you go. So you can see here, you probably won't be able to see it from way up there, but there's 1 victory point for level 1s, 2 for level 2s, 3 for level 3s, and level 4s are a little different because they give you a variable score based on the different achievements. But again, you'll still be able to draft those, so that will mitigate that. It won't just be luck of the draw, and it might not mean anything to you. You'll get to pick from 2 that may mean something to you. Production, I'll go a little bit over that. So you see as I'm building more things out of the here, there we go, that we are going to actually produce different, more things. So I have 3 choices for production. I can do population growth, I can do ore production, and I can do resource trade. Population, it just says right here, A, B, C. You take 1 from each of those columns. So in this case, I can get 3 people, 1 from here, here, and here, and these are all going to be people. If I were to do or, you can see I can get more ore the more I get rid of these discs here. If in this situation I do a production of ore, I'll get 2. And if I do resource trade, it says what ratio at the bottom of this board. It says what ratio you can use in order to do a resource trade. And you can repeat that in any combination. So again, you're going to do that until the end of the game. The victory points are as follows. Like I mentioned on the player boards, you're going to get different victory points for that. You might have a private technology that a card will instruct you to get. Those will be equal to the victory points based on the level. You're going to have an automation track right here. These give you victory points as noted on your board. Any additional levels past this automation track are 1 victory point each. Colonized systems give you victory points at the bottom left. And they might have additional if based on some conditions out here, but the one I pulled right here, you're going to get 5 victory points if you have one of those. You're going to get victory points based on achievements over here. The most power in these systems, these star systems at the top and the bottom. Event cards might come out, and controlled areas. So if you just controlled it and didn't colonize it, you also get a point for that. And that's the game. All right, welcome back for our review of Beyond the Sun. This one is a newer game. I'm going to score it, first time publisher, first time designer, 8.2. Very good. I like it a lot. Yeah, sure, I'm going to have some criticisms. I'm going to have some positive things to say. Doesn't look that great on the board, I'll admit. The tech tree is cool. The action's awesome. I like how you now have more actions that come out as the game gets longer. Now I have a bunch of places I can choose from. Really cool. I like the scoring. The scoring's nice because there's in a game like this, you need to have multiple paths to victory. It can't just be overpowered. When we first played this game, this board, this exploration board, out when I was showing, if you look at the video to the right, that board seemed so powerful, but we were playing a rule wrong. So we had to change, obviously, reread the rules. Like, why is this game not working at all for us? Like, I was going to score this game trash. Like, it was just so overpowered over here. Then we realized...
I thought we were going to speak of that.
Then we realized that, okay, it's not a colonization. You get to do a colonization action. It's not just you have a power, then like if you have a certain amount of power with your ships, then all of a sudden you're colonizing. No, you have to actually do a colonization action. That made the game so much better. I had to spend an action to do that. Then as opposed to just moving around and scoring points nonstop. That was just ridiculous. So we were pretty disappointed at first, but then when we play the rules right, well, the game works right. It works great. I like it a lot. If you get to level 4, which is a task in itself, you get different, it's not just 4 points. No, now you have a different things to pick. They add up differently. The drafting every turn, I like drafting a lot. That's cool. It's not really a draft because I don't pick one and then she gets one. I pick one that works best for me, and then that is my action. So, despite the look of this game, which admittedly I wasn't sure I was going to like it, it actually surprised me. It did very well. I have a lot of positive things to say, and there are some negatives, sure. I mean, a little clunky, these dice, flipping them over all the time, and yeah, there's some things that could be better, okay? But I do like this game a lot. So 8.2, I approve it. I like it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the dice, it's nice that we don't have a token for every single thing, because that would just, I think, be too much to have a token for supply, a token for ships, a token, you know, the dice works well for turning it around to upgrade the ship. But I do think, you know, it's a love-hate relationship with those pieces, mainly because it can be hard to pick them up and turn them for me.
Especially with your nails, yeah.
These stupid big nails. I'm going to give the game an 8.2.
Wow.
Same as you.
I thought she was going to score lower, guys.
Yeah, 8.2. I like that the replayability of the achievements that you can, they can be different every time. It's not always the same way to win. There's a threshold too, like where you're always checking for scoring, and you have to place that achievement at the end if you get it. So you can't like wait for another one. So the game could end before you actually have a chance to score that other achievement. You can only score one achievement at the end of the game. I do like the free, like just all the ways that the actions are, they're similar actions, which some people may think is a con, but it is interesting if you pay attention to what exactly the differences are. Like, oh, okay, I can use one less guy for this one. I don't have to destroy a guy. It is interesting the way the population works and automating, like, okay, maybe I want to get rid of these tokens off the bottom so that my production is more powerful. A lot of ways to think about things. Not too much combat, like it doesn't hurt that bad. If he takes over something, it's like, okay. I mean, it doesn't, I don't cry about it or anything. He has colonized something that I, wanted or kicked me off of a planet, but then I just go back to deep space, so it's not devastating where I just get blown up and everything gets returned to my supply. I like that you can get pieces back, like when you colonize. Another good thing about it is you get pieces back in your supply, so if you're really running low on people because you put them all out in the technology, it's a good way to get people back by colonizing. Taking control, having that action that you get in the exploration when you control something. It's nice to not only take a thing off your production track, but also be able to do an ability on some of the cards that'll say like take upgrade a ship or do something like that. I enjoy that.
And and if Vic takes a spot that I really wanted, not a big deal. I can go ahead and stock up on ore and get a person or something, do something in the meantime, because I know that spot will be available next time. So that doesn't even bother me. You take the spot, mild inconvenience, very mild. I can just do something else that's very productive for my game as well.
And I like that you have to, like, everybody gets the level 1 research as long as they go to that spot and do it without a cost, really. But when you get into level 2, you have to pay. You don't just automatically get any research, like you have to work for it. So it's interesting because Nick had a few spots that I'm like, ooh, that's a nice one. But it was so like, tedious for me now to go research it. So it gave him a bit of an advantage for that one particular action. Yeah. So I liked that it's an asymmetrical game in that regard where you can really control your destiny in terms of like what actions you want to have available to you. Because then once I see he has a nice action, maybe now I might work towards that technology because I'm not barred from it. Unless it's a private one then. And that's another cool thing because you can end up with something that is all on your own. Yep. Like, this is mine, and you get points for it at the end of the game.
And it feels like some of these are all your own. If you branch out really far in one column and your opponent hasn't even touched it really, I mean, they're not going to really devote that many turns to getting to where you are in a tech tree. So that was really cool. Like, this is my private one. Any bonuses that I get, I want to put in this area. Anything that benefits me, anything that looks nice, like, that's a juicy action, I'm going to pick that one, and my opponent probably won't get that far in this tech tree. Tech tree is really cool. It's done very well. I'm impressed with this tech tree. Yeah. And this is a first-time designer, Dennis. Dennis, well done.
Good job. Kudos. And another thing about the tech tree, not to go too crazy, but I like that you can reveal at the bottom guild actions there. I think that's kind of cool, but they come up at random. So the events that happen on the tech tree are another interesting element, because not only are you just drafting cards, but there is something event that might happen, might impact all the factions. Yeah, just really cool. Really interesting game. If you like a lot of choices, if you like space, I mean, this is a space game. It's not too theme heavy. You don't feel like you're literally cruising through space.
It might take you a game or two. I would say it might take you a game. If you're not into this type of game, it might take you another whole game to appreciate this. Because it did for us a little bit even, and we play a lot of games.
Yeah, I would say so. And I got this game for Nick for Christmas, so I was really hoping that he liked it, and I'm thrilled to hear his score. We never tell each other ahead of time how we score the game. We don't say a word.
Nope.
Sit there in silence.
Yep.
No. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you will consider getting this game. I highly recommend picking it up. Like this video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to our channel, please and thank you. We will join you next time for a great gaming review.
All right, bye-bye.